Kamala Harris requires an ID to get into her rallies, but fights against voter ID laws, claiming that's racist. What's up with that? In this video, we'll take a look at the hilarious irony of Kamala Harris's recent campaign rally ID debacle. We'll uncover why this situation has sparked outrage and discuss its broader implications. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of What the Hell Was She Thinking? Starring none other than our Vice President, Kamala Harris. You won't believe this. To attend one of her rallies, you're required to present a government-issued ID. Yes, the same Kamala Harris who's been an outspoken critic of voter ID laws. Can you just smell the irony? Now, before you start thinking this is a clever satire or an elaborate joke, let me assure you, it's not. According to an email sent out by her campaign, which spread like wildfire across social media, only those with matching government-issued photo ID would be granted entry. The venue was even kept a secret until the last minute just to keep us on our toes. And here's where it gets even better. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, her partner in crime for this radical event, was there to back her up. But let's be honest, needing an ID to hear a politician speak while rejecting it for voting? Come on. It's like needing a password to get into a Keep It Simple seminar. Can this situation get any more ludicrous? Even actor Kevin Sorbo couldn't resist tweeting, "Voter ID is racist, but you can't get into a Kamala rally without ID." It's as if the universe decided to throw us a deliciously ironic curveball. How do you reconcile such contradiction? In a 2021 interview on Soledad O'Brien on BET, Harris voiced her concerns about voter ID requirements, worrying about the challenges faced by rural populations lacking access to copier services. What? She stressed that while voter identification is essential, it could suppress particular communities out in the rural areas. But does her rally ID policy help or hurt those very communities that she claims to protect in those rural areas, right? Here's Kamala, in her own words, trying to pass off this ridiculous argument.
I don't think that we should underestimate what that could mean. Because in some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove you are who you are. Well,
why is that such a problem? They don't have any libraries out in those rural areas that have copier machines? I mean, I guess she's talking about mail-in voting, which is their favorite thing over on the Democrat side, because you can cheat a hell of a lot easier. Folks, let's be honest here. This is all because Democrats want to cheat, and voter ID cuts that down big time.
Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't, there's no Kinkos, there's no Office Max.
What does she even think rural areas are? Yes, there's an Office Max, there's a Kinkos.
Near them. People have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws, be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are. Of course, people have to prove who they are.
Of course, people have to prove who they are. But we just don't want them having to prove who they are to vote.
But not in a way that makes it almost impossible for them to prove who they are.
How is telling someone they have to prove who they are with a photo ID to vote going to harm anyone? I don't get it. So, during her 2020 vice presidential campaign, Harris penned an op-ed in the Washington Post commemorating the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. She denounced the non-existent Republican voting suppression techniques, accused them of targeting communities of color with voter ID laws, racial gerrymandering, and all the other crap. No. Voter ID laws say nothing about race. Only Democrats mention race. Voter ID laws apply to everyone who wants to vote, regardless of race. And yet, here we have Kamala Harris saying that voter ID laws are targeting communities of color. How? And then again, here we are where he needs you to have an ID in your hand to enter her rally. Talk about a total hypocrite. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people from the rural communities and people who are Black Americans who need an ID to get into her rally. So what the hell is she talking about? Saying that it's racist in one incident, but it's not to get into her rallies? All right, so what's the takeaway from this comedy of errors? Is it a simple oversight or a glaring example of political hypocrisy? It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma, sprinkled with irony, served on a platter of bewilderment. That's the only way you can explain these people. All right, thank you for watching. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to be kept up to date with the latest political escapades by the Democratic Party. I'll see you in the next one. Spread the word.
That's just the weight of the world. It's not personal, it's just how it works.